Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to Indian Kitchen Abroad. In this video, we're going to make Vindaloo. This is based on a Portuguese dish, Carne de Vinho. I'm pretty sure I butchered the pronunciation. I'm sorry, I tried my best. That translates to meat marinated in wine and garlic. Vino means wine, vin in French, and alos mean garlic. I made a completely different edit for this part with history of the dish as the main thing, but then I felt like it was too boring. So without going into too much history and details, over the time this Portuguese dish has transformed into an Indian dish. Letters started to disappear and the words started to merge, and based on the pronunciation, the spelling started to change. So it finally transformed into Vindaloo. You see that last four letters, Alu, which is a Hindi word for potatoes, has nothing to do with this dish. But many people misunderstand this dish thinking that this is made with potatoes. Even most of the Indian restaurants in US, almost 99% of them, prepare this dish by adding potatoes, lot of vinegar and red chili powder for the spice to your regular curry sauce. So I'm sorry to say this, if you ever had Vindaloo in a restaurant, chances are that was not a real Vindaloo. I mean, you can certainly add potatoes to this dish if you want. I'm not going to question your choices, but aloo in Vindaloo has nothing to do with aloo, potatoes. I had this dish for the first time in Goa, India, a few years back, at a friend's place, not in a restaurant. So this recipe is roughly based on that dish I had in 2018, almost 3 years back. The one I had was made with palm wine, toddy, and I'm going to use red wine. Let's do this. I'm going to start with the whole chicken. There are many videos on how to break down a chicken. I'll link a video in the description box if you want to check it out. I'm going to spatchcock the chicken by removing the spine using kitchen shears. I'm also removing the wing tips. I'm going to use them to make chicken broth. Now press on the breastbone to make the bird lay flat. To separate the leg and thigh, cut the loose skin in between to expose the thigh bone and cut through. Now that's leg and a thigh, or a chicken quarter. For this Vindaloo, I'm using just drumsticks and thighs. To separate drumstick and thigh, just find the joint in between and cut through. If you find the joint, the knife goes through like it's going through butter. There will be a natural fat line between the drumstick and thigh. Cut through that fat line on the drumstick side. This works most of the time. I'm making chicken stock with the carcass, which we are going to use for this Vindaloo. You can use store-bought chicken stock if you want. If you are making your own stock, which I highly recommend, brown the meat for about 4 to 5 minutes before adding half of a roughly chopped onion, 1 whole head of garlic cut in half, roughly chopped carrots and mushrooms. Saute everything for a few minutes and add the water until everything is fully submerged. And then few spices for flavor, coriander seeds, cinnamon stick, black pepper and bay leaves. Now let that simmer on medium heat for 1.5 to 2 hours. Skim out the initial foam that forms on the top and let that simmer for at least 1.5 hours. And while that's going on, we can marinate the chicken. For marination, we're going to use wine and garlic, as the name suggests, and few other spices. I'm going to use a Ziploc bag for the marination, 2 drumsticks and 2 thighs, 4 to 5 garlic cloves, roughly chopped, 1 tablespoon of lightly crushed coriander seeds, bay leaves, 1 tablespoon of black pepper, 4 to 5 dried red chilies. Break them up and add along with the seeds. I'm also adding some red chili powder, it's optional, salt, about 1.5 tablespoon, dried curry leaves. These don't add any particular flavor, add them if you have it, otherwise don't worry about it. And then the wine. Use some kind of a dry wine. To be honest, I don't know what that means. That's what everyone says. I practically know nothing about wines. I bought this solely based on a suggestion from a friend. Use a wine that you drink. If you don't want to use wine or any alcohol, check out the chapters in the timeline. Add some vinegar as well, about half a cup. Now let all the air out from the Ziploc bag, zip it, give it a good mix and let that marinate for at least 12 to 24 hours in the fridge. And don't forget the stock. This has been going on from the past 1.5 hours. Double strain this, and that's stock filled with lots of flavor with very little work. It's the next day. Chicken has been marinating from the past 20 hours. Take it out of the fridge before you start the cooking. I'll start with the chopping first. 1 medium-sized onion, finely chopped, 4 to 5 garlic cloves, and 3 tomatoes. Everything is finely chopped or diced. Take out the chicken from the wine and tap those with paper towels to make them dry. Let them air dry for a few minutes while we make the spice mix for the Vindaloo. 2 tablespoons of coriander seeds, 1 tablespoon of black pepper, 2 star-anise pods, 6 to 8 green cardamom pods, half a teaspoon of fenugreek seeds, and 5 to 6 dried red chilies. Saute them for 2 to 3 minutes and then add 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds, 1 teaspoon of fennel seeds. Saute all these for another 1 or 2 minutes before adding 1.5 tablespoon of poppy seeds. You don't want any of these spices to burn, so add them to the pan according to their size. Saute for another 1 or 2 minutes until the spices warm up. Now blend these spices along with an inch of roughly chopped ginger and vinegar, about 1/4 cup. You can use any vinegar you want. I'm using a mix of white vinegar and red wine vinegar. I added some red chili powder as well. This is completely optional. Adding some red chili powder here will give a vibrant red color. It's completely optional. You don't have to add this if you're not a fan of spice. Add about 1/4 cup of water and blend. We're going to use that spice mix in a minute after we get some color on the chicken. I mean, there is already color. It's red or lavender, I don't know. We're going to sear the chicken. Add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of oil to a pan, add the chicken and cook for 2 to 3 minutes on each side. We are not cooking the chicken completely, just 2 to 3 minutes on each side to get some color. Take them out and in the same pan, add the onions and saute until they become translucent. Then add the garlic and saute until the onions become golden brown. You can add some wine to deglaze the pan if you want, but I would rather drink the wine than cook with it. So I just added some water. Once the onions become brown, add the spice mix we made and saute for a couple of minutes before adding the diced tomatoes and cook them for 5 to 10 minutes. Now add some chicken stock and let the tomatoes cook on medium heat for another 10 minutes until they become mushy and almost disappear. Depending on how you like the consistency of the sauce, add the chicken stock. I added about 16 ounces of chicken stock we made. Add the chicken back to the sauce along with any accumulated juices and let that cook on medium heat for 35 to 40 minutes. Check on it once in a while and give it an occasional stir. Now taste and adjust the salt according to your taste. You can adjust the quantity of vinegar as well according to your taste. Finish it with freshly chopped coriander leaves, ground fennel and garam masala. Let that simmer for a minute and that's it. This was really good and I couldn't stop eating. Just the sauce with nothing. You can eat this with pretty much anything. Goes well with pasta or a piece of toast as well. If you want to stick to Indian theme, this goes well with roti, rice or naan. I'm eating this with some hot steaming rice. But before that, if you don't want to use wine, you can marinate the chicken directly in the spice mix we made. But you have to increase the quantity of water. And don't add too much water, just enough for the chicken to swim. Onions, garlic, tomatoes and then add the chicken along with the marinade and cook until the chicken is done. Now let's go back to eating. There is nothing to say here except this is really good and you should definitely try this. This is nothing but coq au vin. If you add some wine to the sauce, mushrooms and pearl onions, it's coq au vin. And that's it. That's Vindaloo. It's very easy and you should definitely try this. You can add some wine to the sauce if you want. I didn't want to, but the chicken which was marinated in wine has some acidity and I could clearly taste the wine, so it's all good. And traditionally this is made with pork, like pork vindaloo, but you can make this with pretty much any meat, chicken or lamb vindaloo, anything basically. You can make this with vegetables as well, like aloo vindaloo, who cares. But maybe don't marinate potatoes in wine. I don't know, maybe do it, you may like it. So cook this and let me know how it turns out for you. You should definitely try the spice mix at least, it was really good. Hope you liked the video. If you did, drop a like, share the video, and consider subscribing. I'll see you next time. Follow on Instagram as well. Bye.